When the groundhog saw its shadow, it meant 6 more weeks of winter. When criminals see Batman's shadow, it means 8 to 10 more years in jail. Welcome to Comic Book Editions, Volume 271. I'm so glad that you're here. As I continue welcoming you to the show, I don't want to waste any time getting into the content because there's a lot to share in today's video. We're starting out with the first of 3 AOKs that I'm going to be showing in today's video. Yes, it's already started raining AOKs in my household for 2026. I had my final 2025 AOK from Just a Little Podcast that I shared with you recently in a Comic Book Editions video. And now here we are with our first official ones received in 2026. These are some trading cards that my friend Andre from Brazil had gifted me. Besides being a big Wonder Woman collector and a comic book collector, Andre loves his cards. Oh, he loves G.I. Joe too. But he loves his trading cards, his DC Comics trading cards. And as he continues to work on that collection, he's been kind enough to share some extras with me. And I think that these are pretty awesome. I hadn't seen these trading cards before. I think trading cards are probably a little bit easier for Andre to get into because they're smaller. You can get more and transport them or ship them or travel with them back and forth because he lives in a different country. He lives in Brazil. So I think that this also makes sense economically to his collection. I'm loving these trading cards that he had to share with me too, and they're sparkly and foily. This is definitely the age of foil when it comes not only to our comic books, but our collectibles pretty much in general. And these are some very cool collectibles. I was surprised by some of the characters that they chose to include in this set, including like Brainiac. I think it's awesome though. I love Brainiac and I'm a Brainiac fan, but I was a little bit surprised to see a Brainiac trading card. That's cool. And this trading card, you know, you look at it and you go, oh, it's Poison Ivy. But every time I look at it first, I don't see the vines to indicate that it's Poison Ivy. And I always go, oh, it's Mara. Even after knowing it was Poison Ivy, today I picked up the card. I'm like, oh, it's Mara. I'm like, no, it's not Mara. I love Mara, but I love Poison Ivy as well. So besides the cards in this line, Andre also included 2 other trading cards. Look at this cheetah. This is Barbara Minerva cheetah. And that is pretty awesome. All sparkly goodness in this trading card. And thank you, Andre, I do want to say. I did leave a link for Andre's Instagram. He doesn't do YouTube, but if you want to see some of his cool collectibles that are on Instagram, you can click the link that's in the description for this video. This was my favorite card out of everything he sent. It's another cheetah. This was the second cheetah, Debbie Domain, which was the niece of the original cheetah, Priscilla Rich. And it's funny that there wasn't that much Debbie Domain collectibles back when she was at the current cheetah in comic books. They've all kind of happened as like retro collectibles, you know, current collectibles that have like retro images on them. But she's my favorite cheetah of all time, even though she didn't make that many appearances. So thank you so much, Andre, for thinking of me and sending these cards my way. They are awesome, my friend, just like you. My second AOK for today's video came with a letter, and it came from Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe. It says, Ryan, postcards and a little something extra. Don't worry, I won't expect to see these on your wall anytime soon. Smiley face. Cheers, Sarah. So as I start to show these postcards, which I absolutely love, when I finished my 1,000 subscriber live giveaway, after it was over, Sarah asked me and showed me these postcards, and she says, do you have any of these? And I said, I don't. I was aware of these postcards, but I didn't have any in my collection. She's like, I got you covered. And she sent them my way, which I was so appreciative of. Maybe someday you'll see those up on the wall. Maybe someday. I mean, we're making slow progress while we can. This might look just a touch familiar. Of course, from the Superman versus Wonder Woman huge treasury back in the Bronze Age. It's a postcard depicting the cover minus Uncle Sam in the background. I guess they leave the thought bubbles blank so you can fill in your own thought bubbles on what they're saying. I've actually seen, like I said, I was aware of these postcards, and a few times came close to like, I should pull the trigger on that and pick up these cards, but it all worked out in the long run. This one is not a Super Friends cover, but it does remind me of a Super Friends cover from an issue back in the teens. It's fun. Super Friends is probably the reason I got into becoming a comic book collector. Huge fan of all the different incarnations of that TV show back in the day. And I'll tell you something else. Trying to speak like Gleek is not the easiest thing in the world. This is my favorite postcard of all of them. And I love that they took this image and made a product out of it. This original image came from an advertisement that was in some Bronze Age comic books to subscribe to the Wonder Woman comic book. And I think that these played, or these ads were placed in around the time that the Wonder Woman TV show with Linda Carter was airing. But this is my favorite of all the postcards, as I said, already repeating myself. Love this. Hurry up and get in touch. Look at all those awesome superheroes on this postcard. Just stellar. I don't know if these are all of the postcards with these vintage looks on them. I'll have to do a little bit of research. But if you know the answer to that, make sure to leave me a comment below letting me know. And of course, I did leave a link to Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe's YouTube channel in the description for this video, so you can sub her up, enjoy her musical jukebox of shorts and the other content that she includes. You'll see Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe at least once a month on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. This is the final postcard that she included. I am very upset with myself because when I was reading the note, she said I enclosed a little something extra. And I wasn't planning on her enclosing something extra, which is why I opened up the package without filming it. And when I saw what the something extra was, I was very upset at myself for not filming this. Oh, it's technically a sticker, but it does look like a trading card. And it's back of the mod era Diana prints from the Wonder Woman comic books, and it's one of the covers. I've got Wonder Woman and I Ching, and it's CGC graded. This is my first ever CGC graded card. Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe did a video recently on her channel where she was showing off all these different graded cards that she had picked up, I believe, from Heritage Auctions. And she was kind enough to want to share this with me. I know that she had shared a Teen Titans card with John's Comics with Friends. And I'm just so mad that I didn't film my reaction because I was completely shocked. If I had known that there was something extra in there, and I honestly didn't know it was coming, I would have held off on doing it. But this is so special, and I love this so much. And there's not a lot of products out there from the mod era Diana print. So these cards would have came out in the 1970s. And as she was showing in her video of all of these different graded cards she got, I was really surprised at how many romance comic book covers were included in this card set. So thank you, my friend Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe, for sharing this with me, for this AOK in your friendship. You're just amazing. Up next, since I realized that I made a huge mistake by not waiting to film my unboxing with the Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe AOK, I wasn't going to make that mistake with this final AOK that I have to share with you. Alan Schell, The Art of Alan Schell. He was a recent guest on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review, and a few days after the show wrapped, he says, well, actually after the show wrapped, he says, I have something for you. And then a few days later, he showed me what it was, and he mailed it out. And then he said, there's something extra in there, too. And I thought, okay, this time I know I am not going to waste this opportunity of not filming this. So apparently there's at least two things in here. I know what the main thing is, and I'm super stoked about it. But let's find out what else is in here when you come out of fast forward mode. Okay. There's something that I kept turned down. This is what I knew that he had made for me. And it is, I was so happy that this didn't get broke. It's a one-of-a-kind mug that I am so stoked about. So recently on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review, we did a Poison Ivy themed retro review. And I picked my favorite Poison Ivy comic book, which is Wonder Woman versus Poison Ivy. And there was this character, which was an ex-lover of Poison Ivy's, that was really using her, that she turned into this character Redwood. And everyone on the panel, and Alan wasn't on the panel, but he was watching that night, kind of fell in love with Redwood. Like, I had always been a huge fan of Redwood. This is a very obscure character. He almost looks like a chubby Floronic man. Well, Alan made me a mug with some great panels from that issue that we reviewed. It actually was a two-part issue from World's Finest in the Bronze Age. What's even more special and sentimental to me, this first panel and the second panel, these two panels right here, out of the three panels that he put on the mug, I own the original art for these panels. If I'm remembering correctly, it's Rick Estrada art. And I own them. I own the piece of paper that these two were drawn and inked on. Oh, I just love Redwood. And I was honestly shocked that everyone else was getting into Redwood as much as I was getting into Redwood. So thank you so much, Alan, for this. And like I said, especially including two panels that I owned original art on, because Alan made this. So definitely a one-of-a-kind item. That's pretty awesome. Oh, who am I kidding? That's super duper awesome. Alan's really into the obscure characters. And of course, being a Wonder Woman collector, Wonder Woman has a lot of very obscure characters too, especially when it comes to villains. And Alan, oh my gosh, we'll have to have you back on Retro Review, and maybe we'll do like Obscure Character Night where we each pick an obscure character from the DC Universe. That would be fun. Thank you so much for this. That's awesome. And let's see, the other thing that was in here, I have it turned upside down. It looks like it's a little, I don't know, a photograph or something. I don't know. Let's find out what it is. I don't even know if this is right side up or not. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that Wonder Woman sticker. And I was just talking about how much I love the Super Friends. This is from the Super Friends era. And if I'm not mistaken, there was this episode where the Super Friends like had these huge brains. Like a scientist turned them into this experiment with these huge brains. And it's the huge brained out version, Brain Machine Wonder Woman. And it's a sticker. I don't know if Alan made this himself or not, but that is awesome. I love this. I love, love, love this. So I'll include a link for the art of Alan Schell in the description for this video as well as Al's Pop Shop, which there's some cool t-shirts and other products that you can pick up. I seriously have been looking for a long time at some of the products on Alan's Pop Shop. And this year I've got to get some because there's some I definitely want. So thank you, Alan. That is pretty awesome. I got my mug and I got my sticker and I'm super duper happy. That's so creative. I love that. Thank you, my friend, so very much. Nice. Thank you to all of my friends for thinking of me and shooting these AOKs my way. Up next, it is last week, and I've shown this on Instagram, and I've shown it on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review this past weekend, when we had Mars as our special guest, that comic girl. That was a fun show. We did some Green Arrow talk. This product was just announced in cooperation with DC Comics' 90th anniversary and AMC Cinema, and it's these popcorn buckets. And they had Action Comics, Superman, Detective Comics, JLA, Flash, and Wonder Woman. And it was my understanding that the Flash and the Wonder Woman were the hardest to find ones. I ended up getting it. So you get the really cool popcorn tin. I don't know if you can tell or not, but the Wonder Woman here on the front is embossed. This image was taken from Wonder Woman Volume 1, Issue 103, back in the Silver Age. So that was Ross Andru art, I believe. And inside as well, when you open it up, you also get, if I can open it up, you get a lanyard, and then there's another like card, and I think you can swap the images that's in the lanyard out, so you have choices. So the Sensation Comics #1 card, and then the Wonder Woman Volume 3 #1 A cover. are the other cards that you can choose from. I went to an AMC, which was about half an hour away. Got completely lost trying to get there, but I got there and it was worth it because they had the Wonder Woman ones, which are one of the hardest to find ones. I really wanted to get a Justice League one. They didn't have any. However, I'm told that my friend Mr. Fridge Art, who last week I was showing and doing my holiday haul from 2025 and did an unboxing of the Christmas gifts that he sent me from this past Christmas, he was able to find me one of the JLA ones, and I believe it's going to be part of my birthday present, which will be coming in April. So I'm very grateful for that. I would have liked to have all of them, but these were like $22 a pop. So at that point, you got to get a little realistic about how much money you're spending. So happy to have the one that I wanted the most, though. And when these went up on the website last Friday afternoon, they sold out instantly. Like, they were up for a minute and they were completely gone. The Action Comics, that one was up a little bit longer. That one didn't sell out instantly, but it did eventually end up selling out like an hour-ish or a little over an hour later. So these were definitely the hard to come by items, but they're so cool. I love my Wonder Woman merchandise, but with space and with financial reasons, I got to be a little bit picky about the merchandise that I am adding into the collection, but I didn't want to miss out on this and was super happy the fates were with me in order to get one. Okay, I'm going to show you some comic books. First, I do want to remind you about my back issue of the week. Valentine's Day is almost here, and it's a Spider-Man love story where Spidey's proposing to MJ. So check that out as the current back issue of the week on my channel already. I do want to thank you for last week's back issue of the week for Black History Month. I did it on Black Lightning, and it did 1.3K views. So anytime I get numbers that high, I'm extremely appreciative and happy. So thank you for your support on my back issue of the week. Comic books to share with you today. Which one should we do? I know which ones we should do. This Absolute Wonder Woman issue 10 is an EOM variant. EOM is the artist on this. And the Comic Mint offered this back in Christmas. They do something really cool for their customers. Comic Mint, first of all, will give away free comic books quite frequently. You just have to pay for the shipping. And for the last several years on Christmas, they would send you like $20. Here's $20. You can choose from any books that fall in this category to use your $20 on. Then you just pay for shipping. I had talked about before that I'm not trying to collect every cover for Absolute Wonder Woman because it just became financially too much. But since that was out there, I didn't have this cover, I decided to go for it. I love this storyline. This is part 3 of the second storyline they did in Absolute Wonder Woman, where Wonder Woman's going through this labyrinth, this maze, and how they tied different aspects of her past, you know, in this fresh new Absolute way, into the storyline. I loved it. I mean, the first storyline was okay. The second storyline I just loved, and the cliffhanger with it was fantastic, and I've loved what they've done since then with the title as well. So, added this Absolute Wonder Woman into the collection, courtesy of the Comic Mint's Christmas offering. And as I said, that Comic Mint likes to give away free comic books. This was another free comic book that they gave away in the past. This is the Phillip Tan Appreciation Virgin variant. And it was one of those, all you had to do was just pay for shipping. And they only had a limited number of these. And these did sell out pretty fast, so I was able to get my hands on it. It wasn't something that I was actively after originally, but when I saw the offering, I'm like, I think that's cool. And I wouldn't mind getting my hands on, I mean, anytime you have a Batman #1, I think it's regardless of what volume it is, I think it's worth having and keeping into your collection. So that was a little bit behind my motivation in picking this up. And since I was paying for shipping anyway, coming from the Comic Mint for this book, I decided, well, let's just stick with the Batman theme and let's get the original A cover for Batman #1. I'm a huge Jorge Jimenez fan, and I love the artwork that he's doing on here. The Batman in the story is a little bit different. You know, he's facing Killer Croc, and instead of wanting to just instantly bam, wham, sock 'em, fight. Batman sits down and talks with him, and tries to take like a psychological approach in dealing with Killer Croc, which I don't think that we've seen like this softer side of Batman. I haven't read the issues since issue 1, so if you read them, let me know if that's something that they're keeping up with. Like, not so much fight, but more psychological or talking it through. I don't know if they've kept it up or not, but let me know if you've been reading the title in the comment section below, because I'd be curious to know. But classic cover there, and once again, something I didn't want to miss out on. So that wraps up Comic Book Editions Volume 271. What was your favorite item out of everything that I showed today? Let me know in the comments section below. Your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I do appreciate that as well. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the content enough to subscribe. If you're returning, thanks for coming back, because that means the world to me as well. Fanboys Live and the Retro Review is coming up. We have another first-time guest, just like we had a first-time guest Mars, that comic girl, this past weekend. We have a first-time guest, Daymares. Adam is going to be on the show this upcoming Sunday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central. The greatest DC comic show on YouTube is Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. I knew I was getting long in time, so I didn't get to this yet. But I have an autograph in here from the January Hollywood Collector Show. And it does tie into superheroes and comic books. So I can't wait to unbox this, but I'm going to have to wait because I'm going to save it till next week. I hope you'll join me for that. Until we get that chance to visit again, thank you for making it to the end of this video. Stay happy, healthy, and safe, and warm, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.